The law of miracles. The great novelist Leo Tolstoy wrote a delightful story, The Three Hermits. His friend Nicholas Roerich summarized the tale as follows. On an island lived three old hermits. They were so simple that the only prayer they used was, "We are three, thou art three, have mercy on us." During this ingenuous prayer, great miracles occurred. The local bishop heard about the three hermits and their inadmissible prayer, and decided to visit them to teach them the canonical invocations. Arriving on the island, he told the hermits that their heavenly petition was unworthy, and taught them many of the customary prayers. The bishop then left in a boat. He saw, following the boat, a radiant light. As he approached, he saw the three hermits holding hands and running over the waves in an attempt to pass the ship. "We forgot the prayers you taught us," they shouted when they reached the bishop, "and we hasten to ask you to repeat them." The bishop, astonished, shook his head. "Dear ones," he humbly replied, "continue living with your old prayer." How did the three saints walk on water? How did Christ resurrect his crucified body? How did Lahiri Mahasaya and Sri Yukteswar perform their miracles? Modern science still has no answer. Although with the advent of the atomic bomb and the wonders of radar, the scope of the world's mind has abruptly expanded. The word impossible is becoming less important in the scientific vocabulary. The ancient Vedic scriptures declare that the physical world operates according to a fundamental law of Maya, the principle of relativity and duality. God, the one life, is an absolute unity. It cannot appear as the diverse and separate manifestations of a creation, except under a false or unreal veil. This cosmic illusion is Maya. Every great scientific discovery of modern times has served to confirm this simple pronouncement of the rishis. Newton's law of motion is a law of Maya. To every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. The reciprocal actions of any two bodies are always equal and directed in opposite directions. Action and reaction are therefore exactly equal. To have only one force is impossible. There must be, and there always is, a pair of equal and opposite forces. Fundamental natural activities all betray their Mayan origin. Electricity, for example, is a phenomenon of repulsion and attraction. Electrons and protons are electrical opposites. Another example, the atom or final particle of matter is, like the Earth itself, a magnet with positive and negative poles. The entire phenomenal world is under the inexorable influence of polarity. No law of physics, chemistry, or any other science is ever free of intrinsic opposite or conflicting principles. Physical science, therefore, cannot formulate laws outside Maya, the very fabric and structure of creation. Nature itself is Maya. Natural science must of necessity confront its inescapable quiddity. In its own domain, it is eternal and inexhaustible. Future scientists can only probe one aspect after another of its variegated infinity. Science, therefore, remains in a perpetual flux, unable to achieve purpose, fit to formulate the laws of an already existing and functioning cosmos, but powerless to identify the creator of laws and the unique operator. The majestic manifestations of gravitation and electricity have become known, but what gravitation and electricity are, no mortal knows. Overcoming Maya was the task assigned to the human race by the millennial prophets. To rise above the duality of creation and perceive the unity of the Creator was conceived as man's highest goal. Those who cling to the cosmic illusion must accept its essential law of polarity, ebb and flow, rise and fall, day and night, pleasure and pain, good and evil, birth and death. This cyclical pattern takes on a certain distressing monotony after man has gone through a few thousand human births. He begins to cast a hopeful glance beyond the compulsions of Maya. To tear the veil of Maya is to penetrate the secret of creation. The yogi who thus denudes the universe is the only true monotheist. All others worship pagan images. As long as man remains subject to the dualistic illusions of nature, the Maya with the face of Janus is his goddess. He cannot know the one true God. The illusion of the world Maya is individually called avidya, literally, non-knowledge, ignorance, delusion. Maya or avidya can never be destroyed through conviction or intellectual analysis. but only through attaining the inner state of nirvikalpa samadhi. Old Testament prophets and seers of all lands and ages have spoken from this state of consciousness. Ezekiel says, 43:1-2, "Then he led me to the gate looking eastward, and behold, the glory of the God of Israel came from the way of the east. His voice was like the sound of many waters, and the earth shone with his glory." Through the divine eye in the forehead, east, the yogi navigates his consciousness in omnipresence, hearing the word Oraum, the divine sound of many waters or vibrations that is the only reality of creation. Among the trillions of mysteries of the cosmos, the most phenomenal is light. Unlike sound waves, whose transmission requires air or other material media, light waves pass freely through the vacuum of interstellar space. Even the hypothetical ether, considered the interplanetary medium of light in the wave theory, can be discarded on the Einsteinian grounds that the geometric properties of space make the ether theory superfluous. In both hypotheses, light remains the subtlest, the most free from material dependence of all natural manifestations. In Einstein's gigantic conceptions, the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second, dominates the entire theory of relativity. He proves mathematically that the speed of light is, as far as the finite human mind is concerned, the only constant in a universe of unstoppable flux. On the one absolute of the speed of light depend all human standards of time and space. Not abstractly eternal as hitherto, time and space are relative and finite factors, deriving their measurement validity only by reference to the yardstick of the speed of light. By joining space as dimensional relativity, time has surrendered its ancient claims to an immutable value. Time is now reduced to its proper nature, a simple essence of ambiguity. With a few strokes of his pen, Einstein banished all fixed realities from the cosmos, except that of light. In a later development, his unified field theory, the great physicist encapsulates the laws of gravitation and electromagnetism in a single mathematical formula. By reducing the cosmic structure to variations of a single law, Einstein reaches down through the centuries to the rishis who proclaimed a single structure of creation, that of a protean Maya. On the basis of the epoch-making theory of relativity, mathematical possibilities have arisen to explore the ultimate atom. Great scientists are now boldly asserting not only that the atom is energy rather than matter, but that atomic energy is essentially mental matter. The frank realization that physical science deals with a shadow world is one of the most significant advances, writes Sir Arthur Stanley Eddington, in The Nature of the Physical World. In the world of physics, we witness a shadow representation of the drama of family life. The shadow of my elbow rests on the shadow table as the shadow ink runs across the shadow paper. It is all symbolic, and as a symbol, the physicist leaves it. Then comes the alchemist mind that transmutes the symbols. To conclude, the matter of the world is the matter of the mind. The realist matter and force fields of the previous physical theory are completely irrelevant, except to the extent that the matter of mind has itself worked out these imaginings. The external world has thus become a world of shadows. By removing our illusions, we have removed the substance, for indeed we have seen that substance is one of the greatest of our illusions. With the recent discovery of the electron microscope came definitive proof of the luminous essence of atoms and the inescapable duality of nature. The New York Times reported the following account of a 1937 demonstration of the electron microscope before a meeting of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. The crystal structure of tungsten, hitherto known only indirectly through X-rays, was sharply outlined on a fluorescent screen, showing 9 atoms in their correct positions in the spatial lattice, a cube with 1 atom in each corner and 1 in the center. The atoms in the tungsten crystal lattice appeared on the fluorescent screen as points of light, arranged in a geometric pattern. Against this cube of crystalline light, the bombarded air molecules could be observed as dancing points of light, similar to the sunlight points shining on moving water. The principle of the electron microscope was first discovered in 1927 by Drs. Clinton J. Davison and Lester H. Germer of Bell Telephone Laboratories in New York, who realized that the electron had a dual personality, with characteristics of both particle and wave. The wave-like quality gave the electron the characteristic of light, and they began to try to devise means of focusing the electrons in a manner similar to focusing light by means of a lens. For his discovery of the Jekyll-Hyde quality of the electron, which corroborated the prediction made in 1924 by de Broglie, a Nobel Prize-winning French physicist, and proved that the entire realm of physical nature has a dual personality. Dr. Davison was also awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. The flow of knowledge, writes Sir James Jeans in The Mysterious Universe, is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. The universe is beginning to look more like a great thought than a great machine. 20th century science is sounding like a page from the old Vedas. From science, then, if it must be, man learns the philosophical truth that there is no material universe. Its warp and woof are Maya, illusion. His mirages of reality all shatter under analysis. As one after another the reassuring props of a physical cosmos crash beneath him, man faintly perceives his idolatrous trust, his past transgression of the divine command, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." In his famous equation on the equivalence of mass and energy, Einstein demonstrated that the energy of any particle of matter is equal to its mass or weight multiplied by the square of the speed of light. The release of atomic energies occurs through the annihilation of matter particles. The death of matter was the birth of the atomic age. The speed of light is a mathematical standard or constant, not because there is an absolute value of 186,000 miles per second, but because no material body, whose mass increases with its speed, could ever reach the speed of light. Put differently, only a material body whose mass is infinite could equal the speed of light. This conception brings us to the law of miracles. Those masters who are able to materialize and dematerialize their bodies or any other objects, move with the speed of light and use creative light rays to bring any physical manifestation into instantaneous visibility, have fulfilled the necessary Einsteinian condition. Their mass is infinite. The consciousness of a perfected yogi effortlessly identifies itself not with a restricted body, but with the universal structure. Gravitation, whether Newton's force or Einsteinian manifestation of inertia, is powerless to compel a master to exhibit the property of weight, which is the distinctive gravitational condition of all material objects. Those who know themselves as omnipresent spirits are no longer subject to the rigidities of a body in time and space. Their imprisoning rings not passing have yielded to the solvent. I am he. Fiat lux. And behold the light. God's first command to his ordained creation, Genesis 1:3, gave birth to the only atomic reality, light. On the rays of this immaterial medium, all divine manifestations take place. Devotees of all ages testify to the appearance of God as flame and light. The King of Kings and Lord of Lords, who alone has immortality, dwells in the light to which no man can approach. The yogi who through perfect meditation has merged his consciousness with the Creator perceives the cosmic essence as light. For him there is no difference between the rays of light that make up water and those that make up earth. Freed from the consciousness of matter, freed from the three dimensions of space and the fourth dimension of time, a master transfers his body of light as easily onto the light rays of earth, water, fire, or air. A long concentration on the liberating spiritual I has enabled the yogi to destroy all illusions concerning matter and its gravitational weight. Henceforth he will see the universe as an essentially undifferentiated mass of light. Optical images, Dr. L.T. Troland of Harvard tells us, are constructed on the same principle as ordinary half-tone engravings. That is, they consist of tiny dots or streaks too small to be detected by the eye. The sensitivity of the retina is so great that a visual sensation can be produced by relatively few quanta of light of the right kind. Thanks to his divine knowledge of light phenomena, the master can instantaneously project the omnipresent atoms of light into a perceptible manifestation. The actual form of the projection, be it a tree, a medicine, a human body, is in accordance with the yogi's powers of will and visualization. In the dream consciousness of man, where he has loosened his grip in sleep on the selfish limitations that daily beset him, the omnipotence of his mind has a nocturnal demonstration. Long-dead friends, remote continents, the resurrected scenes of his childhood appear in the dream. With that free and unconditioned consciousness, known to all men in the phenomena of dreams, the master attuned to God has created a bond that has never been broken. Devoid of any personal motivation and employing the creative will bestowed upon him by the Creator, The yogi rearranges the light atoms of the universe to fulfill any sincere prayer of a devotee. Man and creation were created for this purpose, for him to stand as the master of Maya, knowing his dominion over the cosmos. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over all the creeping things that creep upon the earth." In 1915, shortly after entering the order of Swami, I witnessed a vision of violent contrasts. In it, the relativity of human consciousness was vividly established. I clearly perceived the unity of the eternal light behind the painful dualities of Maya. The vision came to me as I sat one morning in my small attic room in Father's Gurpa Road home. For months the First World War had been raging in Europe. I reflected sadly on the immense toll of death. As I closed my eyes in meditation, my consciousness was suddenly transferred into the body of a captain commanding a warship. The thunder of cannons ripped through the air as shots were exchanged between the ship's shore batteries and cannons. A huge shell hit the powder magazine and ripped through my ship. I jumped into the water, together with the few sailors who had survived the explosion. With my heart in my throat, I reached the shore safe and sound. But alas, a stray bullet ended its furious flight into my chest. I fell to the ground groaning. My whole body was paralyzed, but I was aware of possessing it as one is aware of a sleeping leg. At last the mysterious pass of death has caught up with me, I thought. With a final sigh, I was about to sink into unconsciousness, when lo and behold, I found myself sitting in the lotus position in my room on Gurpa Road. Hysterical tears gushed out as I joyfully stroked and pinched my regained possession, a body with no bullet holes in its chest. I rocked, inhaling and exhaling to make sure I was alive. In the midst of these self-congratulations, I found myself again with my consciousness transferred to the captain's dead body on the bloody shore. An absolute mental confusion assailed me. "Lord," I prayed, "am I dead or alive?" A dazzling play of light filled the entire horizon. A soft, rumbling vibration turned into words. "What has life or death to do with the light? In the image of my light I have made you. The relativity of life and death belong to the cosmic dream. Look at your dreamless being. Wake up, my child, wake up." As stages in man's awakening, the Lord inspires scientists to discover, at the right time and place, the secrets of his creation. Many modern discoveries help man to understand the cosmos as a varied expression of a single light force, guided by divine intelligence. The wonders of cinema, radio, television, radar, the photoelectric cell, the all-seeing electric eye, atomic energies, are all based on the electromagnetic phenomenon of light. Cinematic art can perform any miracle. In terms of visual impact, no miracle is precluded by trick photography. One can see a man's transparent astral body rise from its gross physical form. He can walk on water, raise the dead, reverse the natural sequence of developments, and play with time and space. By assembling light images at will, the photographer achieves optical marvels that a true master would produce with real light rays. The film's realistic images illustrate many truths about creation. The cosmic director wrote his plays and put together the huge casts for the performance of the ages. From the dark cabin of eternity, he pours his creative ray through the films of successive epochs, and the images are projected onto the screen of space. Just as the images in the cinema look real, but are only combinations of light and shadow, so the universal variety is an illusory appearance. The planetary spheres, with their innumerable forms of life, are but figures in a cosmic film, temporarily faithful to the five sensory perceptions, as scenes are projected onto the screen of man's consciousness by the infinite creative ray. A cinema audience can look up and see that all the images on the screen appear through the instrument of a single beam of light without images. The colorful universal drama unfolds, likewise, through the single white light of a cosmic source. With inconceivable ingenuity, God is putting on a show for his human children, making them actors and spectators in his planetary theater. One day I went into a cinema to see a newsreel about the European battlefields. The First World War was still going on in the West, The newsreel recorded the carnage with such realism that I left the theater with a troubled heart. "Lord," I prayed, "why do you allow such suffering?" To my surprise, the response came immediately in the form of a view of real European battlefields. The horror of the fighting, full of dead and dying, far exceeded in ferocity any newsreel depiction. "Look carefully." A gentle voice spoke to my inner consciousness. "You will see that these scenes taking place in France are nothing but a play of chiaroscuro. They are a cosmic film, as real and unreal as the newsreel you have just seen, a work within a work." My heart was still not comforted. The divine voice continued, "Creation is light and shadow together, otherwise no image is possible. The good and evil of Maya must always alternate in supremacy. If joy were unceasing here in this world, would man ever seek another? Without suffering, he does not bother to remember that he has left his eternal home. Pain is a sting to remembrance. Wisdom is the way of escape. The tragedy of death is unreal. Those who shudder before it are like an ignorant actor who dies of fright on the stage when only a blank cartridge is fired at him. My children are children of light. They will not sleep in illusion forever." Although I had read the scriptural accounts of Maya, they had not given me the profound insight that was provided by the personal visions and accompanying words of consolation. One's values change profoundly when one is finally convinced that creation is just a vast moving picture, and that not in it, but beyond it, lies one's reality. When I finished writing this chapter, I sat on the bed in the lotus position. My room was dimly lit by 2 lamps. Lifting my gaze, I noticed that the ceiling was dotted with tiny mustard-colored lights, twinkling and flickering with a radium-like sheen. A myriad of pen-like rays, like sheets of rain, were gathering in a transparent rod and silently pouring down on me. Immediately my physical body lost its coarseness and metamorphosed into an astral structure. I felt a floating sensation as, barely touching the bed, my weightless body shifted slightly and alternately to the left and right. I looked around. The furniture and walls were as usual, but the small mass of light had multiplied so much that the ceiling was invisible. I was astonished. This is the mechanism of cosmic cinema. A voice spoke as if from the light. Spreading its ray on the white screen of your sheets, it is producing the image of your body. Behold, your form is nothing but light. I looked at my arms and moved them back and forth, but I did not feel their weight. An ecstatic joy swept over me. This cosmic stem of light, blossoming in my body, seemed like a divine replica of the beams of light coming out of a cinema projection booth and manifesting as images on the screen. For a long time I experienced this film of my body in the dimly lit theater of my bedroom. Despite the many visions I had, none was more singular. As my illusion of a solid body dissolved completely, and my realization that the essence of all objects is light deepened, I looked up at the pulsating stream of electrons and spoke imploringly. "Divine light, I beseech thee to withdraw this humble bodily image of mine into thyself, just as Elijah was drawn to heaven by a flame." This prayer was evidently surprising. The beam of light disappeared. My body resumed its normal weight and sank onto the bed. The swarm of dazzling lights from the ceiling flickered and disappeared. Apparently, it was not yet time to leave this earth. Besides, I thought philosophically, the prophet Elijah might be displeased with my presumption.